welcome. Happy New Year's. I hope you guys had a great New Year's. Sorry we missed you guys last week, but we're here today, and let's get ready to jump in and learn everything that we need to know about goal setting and what we need to do in order to achieve these goals. Now, we've been sharing our goals, not all of our goals, but most of our goals we've been sharing.
Yes.
So we're going to share a little bit about those ones as well, see how we're doing and what helped us succeed in some areas and what obviously failed. Because I had a few that didn't come true fruition. So
yeah,
see?
Yep.
But I had a few that succeeded, so we're good. We're going to talk about all that. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about for the next couple weeks. So stay tuned. Again, you guys are watching Let's Dig In. I'm Merary.
And I'm Elda.
Thanks for joining us. All right, so we're going to be talking about goals, setting goals, and what we need to do in order to achieve goals. So, of course, we're at the beginning of the year, and this is where we actually set up our goals, where it's popular. I mean, you don't have to set up goals at the beginning of every year. However, this is the time where we remember to set these goals, or we remember, like, hey, I had that goal that I...
Or it's more emphasized to, like, this is where you start new year, new goals. Like.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's exactly how you just said it. New year, new goals, new things, right? So... of course, we got to talk about it. So we're going to be talking about the different goals and what we need to do to achieve them. Like I just mentioned, there are some goals that we had shared earlier in the year because we did do like a mid-year, and then we had the one way at the beginning where we shared a few of our goals and where we were at on some of those. Unfortunately, I wasn't a few of them.
They were not all fully accomplished.
Yeah. So what we're going to learn from all of this experience. So if you have set goals and you don't know how to go about them, we're going to talk about those. If you haven't set goals, we're going to talk about that as well and how to find a goal. And then for those who, I guess, trail off towards that's usually me. I start off really good and then I trail off. Yeah. So we're going to talk about all of those things today. But first things first, so when we're thinking about goals, the first thing we want to remember, the first thing we want to do is mentally prepare for change. So that's the number one thing we're going to talk about right now, is to mentally prepare for change. And this is something I think a lot of people kind of overlook. Yeah. Like, yeah, you say your goal, but then it's like, okay.
I feel like it's like, because you're in the hype. You're like, all you're doing, like, yeah, I'm going to do all these goals. I'm going to do all of this, blah, blah. But, like, you don't sit there and process, like, you're going to do all of these things. Like, you're planning to have all these goals. Like, it's, obviously, if you haven't done them, it's going to be something new. So it is a process that you do need to sit down and mentally prepare. Like, can I do this? Am I in the good headspace? Like, how do I keep a good headspace?
Well, yeah, and it's just to prepare yourself because it is going to be a habit. It's changing a habit. So It's not like, when you get up and brush your teeth, and when you first get up, what is usually that people do is either they change or they go to the restroom and do something there, whether it be to the restroom, brush their teeth, wash their face. It's usually, and that's an ingrained habit. So if you want to include like working out, now you have to include like another thing in order to like kind of trigger those. It is a change that is happening. So if you're trying to work out in the morning, for example, like setting up your gym clothes there, or setting up your protein and waters, whatever it is that you need to do.
And then going back on that too is setting up a good sleeping time to be able to wake up to do that. So it's like it's a whole thing you need to prepare for.
Yeah, so it's because it is a new habit that we're trying to implement. So we got to look into that as well.
Yes.
So it's important that we take insights of what we've been through, what has happened. Good questions to think about is like, what did I set out to do the past year, and what you did in order to accomplish those goals. Did you do anything different? So like little things like that, because I know sometimes like my goal is like, get organized or, study for school or go to school type of thing. But if I'm not like setting time aside for it, I'm a procrastinator at heart. So I'm going to be at Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights working on those projects, probably turning in them late. So I have to set something like aside mentally. Okay, Tuesdays are going to be for school. Thursdays are going to be for school. Or, I don't know. I say school because that's the issue I'm having with.
Yeah, but I did see that. Like, you do need to, and that also includes, like, because I know, like, a lot of people are like, well, what if I have plans? Well, you need to make sure that these are your first plans. Like, your plans need to go around this, that you're trying to make a habit now.
Yeah, now it doesn't, like, necessarily mean you don't, like, have room for like the I mean, later on we're going to talk about that, like, expect the unexpected kind of thing. But I mean, yes, things do happen, but the thing is just to bounce back. Again, we want this, we're trying to set ourselves mentally to get ourselves ready for this new habit. So we want to make sure that we're constantly, okay, this is why we're doing it, or kind of thing. So this is why we repeat these questions all the time, like, where did I make progress? Like, things like this will help you to remember what it is that you did versus what you're trying to do and what steps need to be done. It's like those constant questions. It's just to keep pushing you, like, okay, what needs to be done or what needs to be done differently.
Yes. And even looking, like, we go into the Bible, we go to Luke 14:28. For which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? So, like, even in the Bible, it's telling us, like, you're not just going to set out to do something blindly, like, I'm going to do it, let's go. No, it's, you need A, B, C. Do I have, like, how am I going to fix my time to do it? How am I going to fix my financials to do it? How am I going to prepare myself to do it? It's not just, running full speed. And, like, for Merary, it's not just running full speed. Okay, we're doing school. Yeah, it's, even in school, she's still trying to set herself, like, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to set this time and be strict about this time. And yes, there could be wiggle room, but you don't want it to be a push aside room, like, oh, we can do it later.
Yeah, and then, like, to completely disregard kind of thing. Or like one of those days where you wake up late and you don't have time to go to the gym after all. That doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, give up and not do it the next day. No, like, no, still do it the next day. It's okay. Errors happen. It's part of it. So we just need to remember, because when we're making resolutions, we focus on what we're lacking in or what needs to be improved. But don't forget, when you are working on it, that is already an improvement. So give yourself props, man. You're doing good.
Correct. You knew something needed to be worked on.
Exactly. So we need to remember to stay positive while we're implementing these habits. Try not to make big and quick changes. We do want them to be nice and subtle. Like if you're planning to wake up at 4 a.m, when you wake up at 12 p.m, that's a little drastic. Maybe like 10 o'clock or something like that.
Go back 2 hours in time.
Exactly.
But then also go to bed 2 hours earlier.
Yes.
Make sure you're going at a good time.
Yeah, there's all these things that come with it.
Yes.
Change should be gradual because we do want it to become a habit. So baby steps until I think I said it was like 21 days to make it a habit. So it takes a while.
Give yourself a month.
It takes a while. And even then, it's still like constantly doing it as well. Build on the smaller changes. As soon as you accomplish something, like the whole example of waking up early. So if you wake up at noon, waking up like at 11 or at 10 is good. And that's a gradual change. And once you celebrate that, that's good. And then move up again, 9 o'clock or
you did it. You woke up earlier.
So build on the smaller changes. That builds motivations. It's like the same thing when they say like paying bills and getting out of debt. There's 2 ways to do it. So if you have a lot of debt, you calculate either you pay off the biggest debt or you pay off the smallest debt. Now, it depends on your personality, because if you pay off the biggest debt, a lot of people find that it takes longer, of course, but if they find that more gratifying because now they got rid of this big debt and now all the other little ones, or the next ones, are super easy. But then there's the other way where people pay off that smallest one and they use that to jumpstart them to paying off the other ones. So it depends on your personality.
I'm not that kind of person, the smallest to biggest, because to me, it's once you get to the biggest, you could break that down, and now you don't have to worry about all these small ones adding. You can break down the big one now.
Yeah.
And do that in pieces instead of like, okay, here's a whole $1,000. It's like, okay, I can do, $50 a month, break it down.
Yeah, exactly. So it just depends on how it fits your personality and how you like it. If you want the small little victories or the big victories, I mean, there's no wrong way of
They're
doing
all
it.
victories.
Yes, exactly. So we have to, again, remember it's mentally prepare for change, and it's okay, and allow room for error, little room for error, you know?
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's your wiggle room, you know?
Exactly. So that one's number one. Again, we want to mentally prepare for it. I mean, yes, it's good to set a goal to like want to travel, but then we also want to remember like, okay, we're going to travel. Start picturing yourself traveling kind of thing in a way. Start picturing yourself probably working more so you can save money to go travel, type of things like that. So then number two, set a goal that motivates you. It's very easy to get caught up with all the different goals outside or out there, especially like the common ones like lose weight, get organized, get out of debt. What are the other common ones?
The gym, it's always packed. Like the
Yeah,
it's always packed.
Yeah, so like things like that. So we got to find stuff that will motivate you. Don't just pick one because everybody does that one. You want to find something that's specific for you that you want to improve on or that you see yourself lacking in. Of course, you know, since we're talking about church, we want to find something, you know, always encourage you to do something more on like the holiness side. On the holy side.
Holier side.
Almost not the right way. There we go. So whether it be like reading your Bible and setting time to pray, going to church, or even like being part of the church, like actually being part of a ministry and helping out in that area as well.
Yeah. And we even go, I know I keep saying, we go into the Bible. We go to Proverbs 16:9. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. So you can plan, but you also need to work on your faith in God to be able to move forward, because I feel like that's something that lacks too, because we set all these plans and then we get all this like unmotivated, discouraged, and it's like you need to have that strong faith, that strong foundation too, to be able to move forward in your everyday life and continue with all of the efforts that you're trying to make towards all your steps, all your goals, and all your resolutions.
Yeah, and there's even a verse too where it says when you place God first, all these other things follow too. So make it, I mean, I encourage you to put God number one and on your number one list. There you go. Yes. And doesn't need to be like specific, well, a general one, I guess, something specific for yourself. Again, something that will motivate you, not something that like someone else is pushing on you, not some, because let's not joke or kid ourselves, like you're not going to do it. Yeah. When someone's pushing you, it's like the same thing at work. Yes, you do it at work, but do you really want to do it? No. There's a difference between like volunteering versus like being told you have to do something. Yeah. So little things like that. So you want to find something that like, okay, that you will want to do without anybody telling you to do it, basically. Yeah, so, and then of course it's good to have that extra external support when someone likes trying to push you to do something. Yeah. But at the same time, you don't want to rely on that because of course everybody has their own thing, everybody has their own goals. So you got to be your own cheerleader in a way.
I think it's good to have like someone you can talk to though, like be like, you know, someone that's going to motivate you, but not someone that's going to sit there with you and talk you into it. Like, you just need the motivation.
Or constantly motivating you to do it, yeah.
Yeah, you just need someone to help you move your motivation, not someone to give you motivation. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you want to make sure that it's something you want to do. Again, it's your goals, it's your priority, it's your dream, it's your aspirations, not theirs, okay? Yes. So keep that in mind. Of course, it's a little different when you're married as well, too. But then again, it's still like what you want to do for your spouse, what you want to do for your children kind of thing, too. So. Yeah, so you should, so not only should you align your innermost desires, but you should also make sure that your resolutions align around your top priorities. This will lead to the must-do attitude. Yes. Which is important.
Very important. It's like, it's literally what's going to get you moving into that vision at the end, that end result that you're like, that's what I want. And if you're like, I'll do it because I can get there, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it be, let's see, I'm trying to think of a lot of examples when it comes to, I don't know, learning to draw. type of thing. You want to, as long as you're pushing yourself, you're going to be the one that's going to be like, oh, let me take this art class or check these YouTube videos type of thing. If it's someone else that's pushing you like, oh, you should do these art things because you're good at drawing, it's a good motivator because it kind of points you in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're the one that's, pushing yourself to that direction.
I feel like you'll have that thought, like, I could do it, but you're not going to have that want to do it. You're not going to put that time in to do it, which is what requires a lot. So you should definitely make sure the goals are set for yourself and not for someone else.
And goals are not supposed to be easy either, guys. So we got to work for them. Again, we're trying to change a habit, and this habit's been around for years, and we're trying to change it. So again, that's why we always say gradual, and this is why we have to say you motivate yourself and make sure you're mentally prepared for all of it.
Yes.
So the third thing, when we have like 10 of them, guys, so we're just going to talk about 3. So then number 3 is limit resolutions to a manageable amount. So a lot of these are kind of like repetitions, but it's repetitions for a reason. So limit your resolution to a manageable amount. Again, we don't want to bite more than we can chew because of course that's like, I guess, the number one thing that like crashes and burns when it comes to resolutions, when we try to shoot for the stars and we can't. Type of thing. So we want to make it something doable, like for example, learning a language. Learning a language is not something that's learned in a month or even in a year. Or, I mean, it could be in a year, but it's still a process. So learning something that drastic in a month, maybe depending on your time, but most likely that's not something that's manageable. So you want to put it, extend it out more, like first month, I don't know, learn the ABCs or learn to say hi, conversations.
With your fruits, something that you use every day. Like, what is the name of, like, how do you say plate in this language? Something that you're using every day that you know that you're going to say every day. So it helps you and motivates you. Yeah,
exactly. So you want to make it gradual. So for example, if your goal is to spend more time with God, whether it be maybe, let's say, 2 hours out of your day to spend time with God, you want to start, if you don't do it already in a constant thing, you want to start gradual. 10, 15 minutes every single day type of thing. Or even,
and
15 minutes is doable.
Set out a plan, like, this is what I'm going to do for these 5 minutes. If it's 5 minutes, is what I'm going to do every minute. If this is, 10 minutes is what I'm going to do. Like, set out your time so you're not sitting there like, what do? I don't know what to do. Like, make a plan for yourself. If you really want this, you'll know, because you're going to sit there and be like, okay, how am I going to break down this time so I can work on this and make sure that this is something that is helping me move into wanting to do more and more and more.
Yeah, so it's breaking it down, it's making it gradual, not like bombarding yourself a lot. Yes, unfortunately, we're not all superheroes, so we can't learn things quickly and we can't make adjustments quickly. So even if it's just one goal, that's fine. If it's one goal, honestly, like a lot of times, a lot of people just do one goal and just work on that one goal. If you want to do 2, that's fine. Even 3 is fine. Just, make sure it's manageable and not like, I don't know, trying to learn 25 languages, learn 15 new job skills, and eliminate 5 habits. Like, that's a lot. Type of thing.
Break it down.
Yeah, that's a lot. Maybe in like 10 years, that's doable, but type of thing.
We even go to Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. So it's even telling us, you have to be diligent. You have to want this. You have to plan this out. If you just run into it, you're not going to get anything out of it. You're not going to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, so you want to write it down. One of the books, I'll have to bring it next time, one of the books that I was reading mentioned just writing everything you want to do, like goal-wise, whatever. Write it all down. So get it out of your system, everything you would want to do, and then you make a second list where you narrow it down, and then you just keep narrowing it down, and you just keep rewriting this list. I know it was kind of crazy when I first writing it down, but it makes sense once you because you start to eliminate some of them that you're just like, that would be kind of cool, but it's not my priority. So the more you start to write them down and you start to eliminate them, and I don't know, I think we had it had us write 100 goals. 100 goals, and like you had to stretch because some of them like you had to think of, okay, 100 goals here. And then I think it narrowed it down to like 50, and then it went down to 20. I don't know. Basically 20, and then like 10, and then 5, and then you got your top 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just narrowed it down to that, and it just tells you, okay, these are your 3, your priority right there, and it was pretty cool because then it just knows. That's how you know, like, okay, this is what stands out, because out of 100, this is the one I kept writing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the biggest one right there, too, is to keep writing it down, because that's constantly reminding yourself about it. And then another one would be not only just writing it down, but posting it everywhere to remind yourself that this is the goal that you're trying to accomplish. Setting time aside for it as well. Again, we mentioned the whole spending time with God and developing that intimacy with Him. 2 hours is a good goal, but if we haven't done it for that long, 15 minutes is doable, and then slowly moving up. So 15 minutes, I don't know, in the mornings, nights, I guess it depends on you. I recommend mornings or nights. 15 minutes, and then once you find that that's very easy, I don't know, usually within like a month, you can add another 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And then again, another month or 2 with that, and then add another 15 minutes, or even 10 minutes, 40, 45 minutes, depending on how fast you want to move, and then slowly building up that way.
You can also do like the timer way, which is like time it. So put a 15-minute timer, and then give it, there's timers where you can like, you pause them or mute them or whatever, and it gives you like another 5 minutes, and just do that and see how long you actually can go. And then that could be a starting point for you. Like, okay, I know that sitting here this time, I know that I can start at 30 minutes. Maybe not 35, 40 yet, but I can start at 30 minutes. And it gives you, because sometimes I know like 15 people are like, oh, that's 15 minutes and I have to go and work my way up. Well, do what you can. If it's less, it's less. It's time that you're putting in, it's effort that you're putting in for your resolution, for your goal, for that end goal that you're looking at. So start where you can, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, and that's your max. Okay, start in an hour and work at it until you keep hitting that timer until you're like, oh, I'm in my 2 hours.
Yeah, and then this applies with any of your goals as well. And I guess the biggest thing to help you in your goals, of course, is having God with you in your process. Again, it's God who gives us the strength to move forward, to persevere, to endure all things. And of course, He can help us out with this. I'm pretty sure He wouldn't mind us having a goal of spending more time with Him.
Yes.
He wouldn't mind, if your goal is to lose weight, I mean, He wouldn't mind that. Our body is the temple, so who are we doing it for? I think we mentioned this one last year too, where we talked about, again, going with that whole preparing mentally, like who are we doing this for? Are we doing it so that we can show off and, especially like losing weight? Are we just doing it so we can like get the ex jealous or something like that? Or are you doing it because you need to be healthier and again, this is our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit type of thing.
Or even just for yourself, for you to feel more confident, not to like, put it into the world, but for you to feel more confident, like make it a you thing. Like I'm trying to fix my, for example, for me, I need to gain some weight. Yes, it's a health thing. It's not a bad health thing. Like I'm not like incredibly skinny. Like I'm not like I need to eat, but I do need to gain some weight because I'm just so tiny. And it's just a personal thing. It's not a, trying to show off. And I feel like it'll make me feel more confident too in like presenting myself,
Yeah. So we just need to remember Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Again, doing God's will is what's going to help us to go that much more than we could ever imagine. And this actually goes with what like my dad's been talking about for this year. For those who probably don't have a goal for this year, I definitely encourage you to look at those teachings that he's been giving. And like how every month he has something set aside, and that's something that we should that would be a good goal. So like for this month, for January, it is having a healthy spiritual life. So what does it mean to have a healthy spiritual life? Of course, we need to know who God is, who we are in God type of thing. Again, this one's more like a mental thing because it is on the spiritual realm where we need to remember like, oh, you know, we have greater purposes. God has great plans for us. All things work for good, despite our circumstances and stuff like that. So that's a good goal right there too. If you guys need, if you guys need another one right there.
I encourage you to go watch it. It's on our Facebook page, YouTube. Go watch his talks. They're really good.
This talks is
I keep thinking of ours, like, listen to our talks. Like, go listen to his preachings. They're really interesting. He's really funny.
Yeah, so exactly. So these are just the top 3 right here for now. We're going to talk about more when it comes to these goals. The biggest one, though, is writing it down. It's cementing it into our mind that this is the goal, this is what we want to accomplish. And of course, this what helps us, makes it more manageable because we're the one that we're willing to write the most is the one that we're like more motivated for, which is, again, the second point where we said set a goal that motivates you. And then that was going to help you. And then, of course, number 1, mentally prepare for the change.
Yes.
So it is a habit we're trying to change or a habit we're trying to build exactly. So we want to make sure that we're preparing for all that. And it's going to be hard, yes, because it's a habit and habits die hard. Unfortunately, it's like that saying, like, you can't teach an old dog to do tricks type of thing. It's like, it's hard. I mean, it's not impossible, but it is hard. But it is doable. So encouragements, guys. You guys can do it.
We believe in you. We're sending all our positive energy. You got this.
Yes, in the name of Jesus, you got this. All right, guys. So this is just the first 3. So we're going to continue talking about it. And we're going to share our goals as well. So share your goals that you have for this year. Maybe you guys will motivate me to to adopt one of your guys' goals.
Let me know what your goals are.
Exactly. So if yours is reading books, I need some recommendations. Yes, I need some reading. I think I only have like 4 out of my 12 books this year. So I need some books. So send them my way. All right, guys. So thank you guys so much for being here with us. May God bless you and go set your goals, okay? We're going to do this together.
Got this.
All right. See you guys next week. Bye.